The rain's gonna sound good.
It's gonna be like common.
Yeah, people will listen to this and fall asleep. Hello and welcome back to Simon's Rants. I'm Simon, this is Eric, and we just saw Spider-Man Far From Home. So these are going to be our first thoughts on it. We're going to have kind of two different perspectives of somebody who's a comic nerd and somebody who's not as much. So definitely stick around for spoilers if you want to hear about that, because we're going to talk about some interesting things. There's a lot to talk about. Overall, I ended up thinking that this plot was really ridiculously predictable because I knew the characters. Did it feel like that to you too?
Yeah, it felt very predictable. Like the big twist was very
predictable.
Yeah, saw it coming.
And the villain was kind of lame at times. He was very monologue-y. Did a lot of spoon feeding.
Yeah,
like I felt like every little detail was spoon fed. Not just the villain. It was Spider-Man 2, you got this one little moment that annoyed me where he's just like explaining technology, and it's like, you don't need to tell me this.
Yeah.
But okay, we're saying a lot of negatives right off the bat.
Yeah.
This movie isn't all negatives.
No, not at all.
Putting this out there, the fight scenes in this movie were phenomenal.
Yes,
so good.
I agree.
So good. There was some fight scenes that I was thinking, this is the best I've ever seen in a superhero movie, period.
That was one of my first thoughts. It's just the fighting was phenomenal in this, and probably phenomenal. Keep that in. Phenomenal.
And interesting and like imaginative and creative. And one thing it kind of reminded me of, and I hope this isn't giving anything away, it reminded me a little bit of, if you ever played the Arkham games, the scenes with Scarecrow is what it reminded me of.
Yes.
Very cool. You know, like that's what they should have done in Batman Begins with Scarecrow.
That would have been cool. Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. Obviously, this villain's different than Scarecrow. There's differences there, but there's a lot of similarities too. And it was very creative, very quick, very action-packed, but also was tremendously clear, I thought. Like, it was easy to follow, and just a lot of fun.
Yeah, one of the problems I have, and it's carried over from the first one, is I don't like any of the side characters.
I had some issues with Mary Jane in this. I felt like she didn't really act like herself the majority of the time. In the first one, she was very reserved, very cool, and not like in a traditional sense of cool, but like the way that she was like, she would watch people and go, "You're all idiots," and that's like all she did. Was she was almost like, you know, like from more of our era, like the goth girl.
Yeah.
But she wasn't goth, just that kind of personality though, of just the edginess without all of the makeup, where she would just kind of sit in the back and go like, "You're stupid." And this, she was like a giddy nerd, and like she reminded me almost of like a Hermione type character at times, and I was like, I didn't like that. It didn't really seem to fit her, and I felt like a lot of the personalities in this, I haven't checked yet. I feel like it was written and directed by a different group than the first one. I definitely feel like it was different. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I haven't checked, but it felt like it was helmed by different people.
The best side characters to me were the teachers.
I loved the teachers.
They were the funniest part.
Smooth, man.
Yeah.
He was hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know who the other guy was, but he was also hilarious.
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal was great in this.
Yeah.
And I felt like he was too good. You know how like the Marvel movies, the MCU movies, superhero movies in general, there's like a cheese level?
Yeah.
He was too good.
Yeah.
He stood out. Like there's, I can't talk about it, spoilers.
I actually didn't even see any trailers for this movie. I didn't find out he was in it until like yesterday or something like that. So like I was actually really happy to hear he was in it.
He was very good.
Yeah.
I had just recently rewatched Zodiac, and to compare his performance in that to this, two completely different characters. He is an actual, he's not a pretty face type actor. He's a legitimate great actor, and I was just enjoying his performance. Obviously, they're all too old to actually be high school.
Yes.
Ned looks like he's like upper 30s.
Yeah, I know.
And like at one point, they had a close up of Tom Holland's face too, and I was like, yeah, you're not. I see some wrinkles. You're not that age.
It's
I think they all skipped
Yeah.
the snap. And they're just pretending.
Yeah.
They just wanted 5 years off high school.
I do enjoy Tom Holland, though, as Spider-Man. I think he's a good pick.
I like him a lot.
He's a very good pick.
I like him a lot. I want to say as many positive things.
Yeah, I don't want to say like, because I liked it, but I didn't love it, but I liked it. But there's plenty of good things to actually say, too.
it's hard to like categorize this movie because it was very original in the way that it wasn't like your typical superhero movie. However, it's still a plot that's pretty standard. And it was extremely predictable. So I'm caught in the middle of like, wow, I've never seen anybody do something like this before with Spider-Man, or I've never seen the MCU do something like this. It reminded me actually a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where it's like, this is very original, very different, but does that mean it's good?
Right.
And I'm caught in the middle going like, I don't know, because there was some really good parts about it. Really, really good parts about it. Like I said, the action, and then the acting of Jake Gyllenhaal, and then the humor worked for the most part,
yeah, for
actually,
the most part it did,
which is something I'm very critical of in the MCU movies.
Me too,
I don't
me
like
too.
them most of the time. I thought that it worked the majority of the time in this. But then there's a lot of just like cheesy things too, when like I said, the plot is so basic, and there's so much monologuing, and there's so much...
Yeah, essentially just monologues, just explaining what was going on.
Yeah.
Somebody just watched.
Good guys,
like,
bad guys, anybody.
Yeah, and it's like, come on, give the audience some credit. I guess in a way, since these are made for mass consumption, and a lot of people, they want it to be like as easy to follow as possible, which it hurts the writing sometimes.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to ask your opinion, because you're not a comic book nerd, yet you still felt like you were being spoon-fed.
Yeah, they told you everything that was happening, like it happened, and then they told you what happened. It's like, I just saw that.
Yeah,
like, I figured
I was following that.
I figured that out. It's not a hard plot. Like, I got you.
No, it's pretty simple, pretty basic. And the thing is, like, when I saw the trailer, I saw little hints at things, and I thought, oh, and I got this idea in my head. It was going to be this like such in-depth, complex plot, and then I'm watching it going, well, that was like part one of my 5-step plan that I had in my head. Yeah, it's like it wasn't bad, but like there was so many more layers to this that they could have gone with and then didn't, that I felt like, I don't know. See, it's not bad that they didn't go there, but to me, I was hoping and expecting more, and so I guess my own expectations kind of threw me off a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know, where are you sitting at? I'm sitting in somewhere around a 6.
Yeah, I was just thinking in my head, I'm like, well, I can't go 50-50 on, because a 5's not good enough.
No.
Like, it's definitely better than a 5.
Yeah.
Anything, and when I grade movies, anything above a 7 I consider good. Like, it's, or like started to be above average.
Yeah.
There were things about this movie that were above average, and things that were average.
But not consistent.
Right, yeah, but and things that were just average.
So maybe like a 6.5, because it's just below, you know?
Yeah.
And I really liked parts of the first one. Like the whole plot twist in the first one was so good. You know, whenever there's a plot twist in a movie that I don't remotely see coming, I automatically you get a couple extra stars, because I'm just like, good.
Yeah.
Good for you. You did something that's original. Good for you.
You're always ruining movies for yourself.
And this one didn't have that moment where I went, that was creative writing. This didn't have any kind of creative writing in it. Like, it wasn't bad, but it was pretty, you know, typical. So overall, I want to say it's pretty good, and it's definitely worth seeing, because like, especially as a sequel, you know, it's hard to make good sequels, and this one did something honestly different. It's so easy to cop out and do just a standard sequel. This didn't do that. So I'd say it's definitely worth watching if you enjoy the first one. If you didn't watch the first one or didn't like the first one, this isn't gonna change your mind about anything really. But it's definitely worth watching. If you've seen all the other ones, definitely are gonna watch it. I don't know why anybody would watch this review anyway. They already know if they want to see the movie or not. But just to have your expectations set at this is good, not great. I think it's probably in the upper half of the MCU for me.
Yes.
I thought that it was, you know, Homecoming was one of the better ones. I think that this is too, but not nearly as high up on the list as the last one. So really, like we keep saying, it's hard to get into this without getting into twists and, you know, the spoilers, because spoilers start about like a half hour into this film, like, which is good, you know, that's good marketing with how they did it. Like, you know, you don't know much except for if you know the characters, like I did, and like I think most people that will see this did, then like you know where it's gonna go. But even at that point, halfway through the movie, you're still kind of questioning where's it gonna go from here. So there's a lot to talk about in spoilers. So yeah, we're gonna get into that. If you haven't seen it yet, or you don't want anything spoiled, click away now. But don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It helps me out a lot, guys. Thanks. Bye. So, spoilers.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Mysterio's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Duh.
Is that how he is in the comics? Like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not familiar with it
Yeah.
at all. Okay. So if you go in knowing the comics, you know that was going to happen. I saw it because I could just tell there was something up about the way Mysterio was acting. And the other thing was, it's like, all right, this is what you thought was the enemy or what they were trying to present as the enemy being these elementals.
Yeah.
It went away too quickly, and you're like, it can't
You're
be.
sitting there going like, there's no way this like water monster or this fire monster they're talking about is gonna be the main villain. Like, it's so boring that you know that's not anything real.
And then I thought, like, well, I think it's probably about 40 minutes in, maybe. I don't know the exact time, and I'm like, we're too far in to like really introduce a new character and start building a villain that you're gonna care about.
Right.
So I was like, it's got to be him, and I thought, like I said, it's pretty obvious that it was him.
And then once he has that reveal, he goes on for like 20 minutes. He was like,
I know,
walking along on the table and like, remember how that happened and this happened, and as you all know, this and that. And I was like, is he gonna start singing? Like, what more can you do to spoon feed this? Like, he was just a Syndrome ripoff. Like, I felt like I was watching The Incredibles. Like, he started going off, and I was like, oh, he's monologuing, because I was like ready for Mr. Incredible to just punch him or something. Like, shut up. He's talked so long.
It's like they're like, your script will be the synopsis of the movie and everything that's happened. Just read it. Just read it.
If you already know that going into this, you won't be shocked by anything in this movie, except you might be shocked by how little they do with it. Because that's what I was like disappointed about, was like, when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, so Nick Fury's not going to be really Nick Fury. Mary Jane's not going to be really Mary Jane. Because I was thinking, there's no way that MJ would find out who he is, because he's not that stupid. And there's no way that Nick Fury's going to not find out who Mysterio is, really, because he's not that stupid.
Right.
And then they're just that stupid. And I was like, which actually, if you go to the post-credit scene, it's actually a scroll, not Nick Fury, so that I guess that explains the fact that Nick Fury was an idiot throughout this whole movie. Yeah. I guess that explains it, but what the hell was going on with that post-credit scene?
Yeah, unless I'm missing something. I don't know why that's even needed to be a thing.
No, like, I thought they were gonna go kind of with like the excuse he said, like, I've been gone 5 years and now I don't know anything, so that's why he's kind of an idiot. He's trying to catch up. But regardless, it was just cheap. Like, they could have been so much more clever with this. Yeah. And they really weren't. And like, yeah, it was cool at times, but overall, like, the plot was just paper thin, where I was like, like, the fact that I was surprised how quickly it turned around and said, yep, he's actually the bad guy. Yeah. Like, I was like, you could, play this out a little bit.
He went from being, obviously lying about being the bad guy, to being a guy who just wanted to be an Avenger, and you could, well, it was a
Syndrome.
It was a poor motivation. I thought, like, I was like, who would take it this
far? He wanted to kill the whole world. He wanted to rule the whole world because Iron Man renamed his device Barf. And he was like, no!
And then he just became extremely diabolical. He went from being like a villain, you could almost go, oh, I can see you're human, you're just wrong when you're doing this the wrong way, to like being a diabolical maniac out of nowhere, like,
and really cheesy. Yeah, he got better as the film progressed, but that scene where, like I said, he's monologuing for about 20 minutes, it really was so poorly acted, so poorly directed, so poorly scripted. Everything about that scene, I went, oh no, is this movie gonna suck?
Yeah, it took me out of the movie. I thought the movie was taking a turn. I was like, no, like, you're holding in pretty well.
Up until that point, we were gliding at a solid 7, solid 8. That scene was like a 4, and I was like, holy shit, what's happening? Like, where is this going? And I got scared. And then it bounced back up and got better. It still wasn't as good as like the beginning, because they just didn't really flesh out as much. But God, that scene was bad.
Yeah. It made up for it with the fight scene, though.
Yeah, no, the first scene where like he's tricking him and everything, and everything's really an illusion, was so good. Yeah. I was sitting there just
and then every time I thought, like, oh, all right, this is normal. No, it's not the real thing. Like,
no, it was so well done.
4 times. I'm like,
so well done. Like, because then later when you see Nick Fury again, and he doesn't know that he's a bad guy, I was like, wait, what? And then Tyler was like, because he wasn't really there. I'm like, but I thought he was part of the time. Oh, he wasn't? Wow, okay. Oh, okay. And it's like, so, yeah, it was done really well. But still, the fact that Nick Fury was tricked by it was really lame.
Yeah.
Because it should have just been a fake Nick Fury. That would have been a really easy plot to write.
Out of it, yeah.
You know, like he's trying to get in contact with him while he's in America. He goes to Europe. Just have Nick Fury not follow him.
Right.
And he'd be like, yeah, I was trying to get in contact with you. You can take your mask off here. Yeah, I know who you are. Obviously. Duh. And it would have been so much better that way.
Right.
And then he says, oh, so what do you want out of life? And he goes, I just want to kiss my girl. Oh, what's your girl's name? MJ. Oh, she sounds nice. Can I see? Do you have a picture? Oh, yeah, here's a picture. And then he becomes MJ. He goes, I know who you are. And he goes, what? How do you know? I figured it out. That would have been, that's what I thought was going to happen. Yeah. And that was so much better than what actually happened. The first post-credit scene.
Yes, it was the first one. Right.
Was wow. That's a really interesting
I don't know
idea.
where they go with that. Yeah.
First of all, I'm just stoked that they brought back J. Jonah Jameson, the same actor, same everything. Well, he's missing his hair for some reason, which kind of was unfortunate. But the fact that like now everybody thinks Spider-Man's the villain moving forward. I don't know why that wasn't part of the actual plot. The fact that they put that in a post-credit scene was weird to me.
Yeah.
Because that's so important. Both of these post-credit scenes was just bizarre to me.
Yeah.
They didn't really seem like they fit into a post-credit scene. Now people who didn't stay for the credits are going to be like, when the next one starts coming out and they're like, Spider-Man's on the run. People are going to be like, what? Why?
Wait a minute.
What happened? And then Nick Fury's going to be like, I'm back from Skrulltown. And they're going to be like... Why were you there?
Why?
We still don't know why he was there. We just know he disappeared. I guess he was hanging out with Captain Marvel or something. I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know what was happening. It's just bizarre. But the fact that he's going to be at least, you know, kind of chased by the good guys is a little bit repetitive in the way that's like it's going to be like Civil War again. Not that it's the same thing exactly, but it's going to feel similar.
Right.
Where like, or a Dark Knight Rises type, where he's on the run.
Yeah.
Which was the end? Oh, the third one in the trilogy too.
Yeah.
Regardless, I'm interested to see where they go with it. I have no idea where they're going with it so far. Idea. Like I said, the writing has been original. So, okay, a little bit set up on the scene in case you haven't seen it. They've locked themselves in this museum vault, and they're being chased by these drones that they've been shooting at them. They're on autopilot to shoot them at this point. They've been commanded to kill them. Nothing is stopping them from killing them except for this safe door. Meanwhile, you've got Jake Gyllenhaal and Spider-Man are fighting, sort of. The drones are fighting, and Tom Holland is trying to get up there to Jake Gyllenhaal. He jumps through and punches Jake Gyllenhaal in the face, breaking his little mask thing, his little dome, his little fishbowl. The second time out, that scene where he took off his head and it was like a snow globe and Spider-Man was so cool.
Yes.
And then the scene where he was like, he was fighting and then he fell down in front of the building and then the hand came through and grabbed him.
Yeah.
Oh!
It
so
was, you were
awesome.
very right to say it was like Scarecrow in
so
the
awesome.
game.
So
very
awesome.
Perfect.
Anyway, whoop, back to the thing. He punches him right as the drone breaks through the safe door. And then the drone stops because Jake Gyllenhaal got punched. Why did it stop? Why did it stop?
Just because he broke his thing doesn't mean the operating superpower still wouldn't work.
And he did say a little bit earlier, I want manual control, but it wasn't applied anymore. We were moved on past that.
Huh.
And
I didn't catch that. Yeah.
Why?
This is a convenient writing.
They should be dead.
Yeah.
They should be dead.
Just convenient writing, probably. Just needed a easy way to get them out of it.
It was very Phantom Menace-esque. So was Spider-Man stepping in poop for no reason. I just went, Jar Jar. And the fact that people laugh at that and then make fun of Star Wars is such hypocrisy that it pisses me off. Because if you're going to laugh at one, you have to laugh at both. Yeah. It's the same joke.
Yes, I say same joke.
Same joke. I can talk about the Jake Gyllenhaal getting shot thing now.
Yes.
So the whole end scene with Jake Gyllenhaal getting killed or whatever was really well done, I thought, because of multiple things. Like I said, Jake Gyllenhaal is too good of an actor to be in this movie.
Yeah.
When he got shot, it was so much better. Than any of the other acting. Like, if you see somebody get shot in an MCU movie, you kind of expect, like, I'm shot type acting. Like, hammy, cheesy, a little melodramatic. He just, like, kind of like, he looked like he actually got shot, and he was just like, and then fell over, and I was like, that looked real, and that was awesome. Secondly, when he was saying, "Oh, you deserve this," and he was tricking him though, and he was just a hologram pretending to hand him the glasses. That got me a little bit.
Me too.
Like,
I was called for a second too.
I was just mainly because at this point I was expecting them to do the dumb thing, so I was going, "Oh, they're doing another dumb thing," and then Spidey Tingle happened, or the Peter Tingle happened, and he's about to shoot him, and he catches the bullet, or not the bullet, the gun, or whatever happens exactly, and that was cool. That was really cool. I liked that a lot. It really redeemed that little moment, because I was like, "This is dumb," and then I went, "Oh, this is awesome." So
yeah, that got me too. I almost didn't even see. I didn't see it exactly. I had to like figure out what kind of happened. Like, but because I didn't see him point the gun at him originally. Obviously, I heard a gunshot of some sort. Right. I didn't see him with the gun out at him. But yeah, it was good. It was a good, like, really cool.
Good little moment. Yeah.
I was convinced he was. Oh, you're right. Here's your glasses, and then they twisted it again. That was cool.
Yeah. Going back to the giving up the glasses in the first place, though, that whole thing was so annoyingly stupid, and the whole getting into the process of finding out that Mysterio was a bad guy was so rushed.
Yes.
So rushed. That should have happened like halfway into the movie at least.
Right.
But it's like it was 20 minutes in, 30 minutes in, I felt like.
Yeah.
And it wasn't good. The pacing was bad. I guess they were just like, we all know where we're going with this, I guess, and so let's just get to it. See, there's a little cool little line there in it too, that he's during the last scene, the last fight, I mean, he tells him to turn off all the cloaking, and his engineer goes like, "Oh, why? They'll see it," and he goes, "They'll see what I want to," and then nothing happens, and you're kind of like, huh? But then the post-credit scene, that makes that line make sense now.
Yes.
Now it makes sense, and I didn't realize that until just now, because I was like, he didn't do anything, but he did do something.
Yeah.
So does that mean that he knew he was going to die all along, and it was like he's sacrificing himself for the cause?
Yeah.
Or maybe he just had a other plan too. That was like the...
Well, I guess if he can make himself look like the martyr in this, and he could live on, like, which is essentially what he wanted.
Yeah.
He wanted to live
He was Syndrome. He was Syndrome. And it was like slightly different motivation, obviously. Yeah. Like, Spider-Man didn't, like, piss in his Cheerios when he was a kid, but Iron Man did.
Yeah, right.
And so he's just taking out on the current superheroes, and it's like, not that he wants there to be no superheroes, but he wants to rule the superheroes. It's the same basic thing. It was very Syndrome. And it's like, that takes away from the originality, because I'm going like, this is so different than anything we've seen in the MCU, but at the same time, it's something that we've done pretty recently.
Yeah.
In a superhero movie.
Yeah.
It might not be MCU, might have been an animated kids film, but it's still a superhero movie that we've gotten, 15 years ago? That's frustrating, and that's all I can say about this movie, is that it's frustrating because there are points of it that are amazing, and then there's points of it that are very lackluster and very face-palmy. And overall, it just ends up being good, not great.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way you can say it, is good, not great.
That's the perfect way to say it. I think it's the only thing you can say. A lot of really good stuff, some pretty poor stuff too.
Yeah.
Nice mix.
And I hate movies like this, because you want to just latch on to those few good scenes and go, oh, this movie's great. Like, there's many movies like this. Like, I think we've talked about Jumper before, how I love certain scenes in that.
Right.
Or, actually, speaking of Hayden Christensen, Vanishing on 7th Street, or whatever it's called. Yes. Once again, a couple of scenes in that are really cool, and then the rest of it's so bad. And this is just going to be another movie to add to that list for me, where it's like some really good moments, but overall lackluster. Not quite as bad as those two, because I feel like Vanishing and Jumper are like 5.5 to lower 6. This is more of like a 6.5. It's definitely better than those, but not by a lot. And something that, although not forgettable necessarily, just isn't that memorable either. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I think I'm right there with you. It's the best thing to say is good, not great. Like, it is really, that is the best way to say it. Like, I really want to see that fight scene again.
Yeah, that's the thing. That scene's so good. That was the first time in a long time that I've been sitting in a theater watching a screen just in awe. Like, I know a lot of people talked about the Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame that way. I didn't feel that way.
Right.
I was like, this is entertaining, this is good. But I was never just like, wow. This was the first movie that's wowed me in a long time.
Yeah.
So it's a shame that the thing that wowed me was just a smaller part of a bigger piece that was meh.
Yeah, that would have been. Maybe if they did that more often, it would have been overused. Maybe that's why they didn't go with that, because it would.
Well, I mean, I'm not asking for that to be the whole movie.
Yeah, true.
But I just want the rest of the movie to be
that good,
better. You know, like, because if the whole movie was as good as the fight scenes, this movie would be flawless. Like, this movie would be a 9.
Be one of the best superhero movies there is. Yeah.
But
absolutely.
It wasn't. So, yeah, that's what we thought of it. Kind of hard to put it into words, but overall, I enjoyed it. Don't know how many times I'm gonna watch it. It's kind of, for me, gonna be a theater movie, because it's like the best parts about it were the special effects, although at times they looked Matrixy. You know what I'm talking about?
Spider-Man jumped on.
But overall, this is the kind of movie that you want to see in theaters, and then you go back in your home and watch it, and you go, eh. And that's like kind of along the same lines as another Zendaya film. Zendaya, I mispronounced her name. With The Greatest Showman, where I saw that in theaters, one of the best theater experiences of my life. Went home and watched it on a TV and went, okay, that's like a 6. So I'm definitely feeling the same thing with this. But anyway, doubling down on this, that's what we had to say about this. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. Hope you guys like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that, and let me know what you guys thought about it. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Peace.